Hi, I thought I'd come on and give a little tour of some of the woodworking books that I have here that I haven't gotten around to posting yet. Actually, the most recent post that I had is a woodworking textbook that I have in this pile of 8 here. But because I have so many books that start to pile up and I can only post so many at a time, just because I take a lot of time with my book posts. I usually can't get around to posting more than one every 2 days at most, and just with family life and work and all that other fun jazz, AshTreeBooks can only really handle posting about one book every couple days or so. So they start to pile up. And that's the fun thing about going and seeing me in markets, is because you get to see a lot of the books that I don't have posted. But when I do videos like this, I can hold a few up, and if there's something that you like, you can inquire about it, and eventually I will get around to posting it. So I have 8 books here to do with woodworking. So I grabbed 8, anything to do with woodworking, lumber, reference. They range from textbooks to reference books to yacht building. So you'll see what I have here. So I thought I'd start with the one that I actually just recently posted, and that's what inspired me to put this little pile together. And it's called Woodworking with Wood, and it was a high school textbook. It's a stated first edition. It has a few different authors. They're listed here. And it does actually say stated first edition. Because it was a school textbook, it has that stamp, but it is in good condition. What I love about this book is that the pictures are just so vivid and it's so easy to read. It has really clear, has a nice forward here, but then it has a couple pages of contents where it clearly lays out with pictures exactly what it goes over in detail. And I think this book is fantastic. It goes through everything from planning your workspace to the safety precautions, safety first, situational awareness, and to do with the right type of paint for the right type of wood, measurements, hand tools, power tools. So the categories are very neatly laid out. And it just reminded me of when my older brother took shop woodworking in high school, and he'd be bringing home all kinds of neat things, like from a clock that he built to a wood stool. It has that type of projects in it, and some of them actually get quite detailed. I think quite advanced for someone who would be in high school. But look at this. This is even just like weaving, you know, those seats, those chairs. But it's like, even when I looked at this book, it's like I could do that because the instructions are so clear and well laid out. So I just like this book, and I actually like the vintage looking graphics on the front. It has this appeal to it. I can't really put my finger on it, but just that classic textbook vintage charm. So I'll move on to the next one. It's also a textbook, and it's called Cabinetmaking and Millwork, and it's quite large, like over 900 pages, extremely detailed, from woodworking techniques down to the cellular structure of wood. And actually I put a little marker because that's what I remember about this book that I wanted to show you. It's just, you know, with 900 pages, it goes into such fine detail about cabinet making, cabinetry making. A lot of it, I would wonder if, you know, you can even find these tools anymore, because some of the floor, big table tools, I recognize some of the stuff that my grandfather used to have. He built his own house and had a wood shop down in the basement of his house. But I just to show you some of the detail, it goes into the grains of the wood and what types you want to pay attention to for what parts of the furniture you want to use, but just everything. It has not left anything out. So it is in really good shape. The corners are really sharp and just in very, very lovely condition. I don't think that it was even, I think it's one of those books that just sat, and it might have been a spare because it hasn't even been issued out to anyone. So very good condition. So that's the second book I wanted to show you. And then the third book is also a textbook, but from way back in the day, 1936. And it was a school textbook that back then would only have the black and white pictures. It's called Practice and Theory. It was a secondary school textbook, and it was used in BC because it says Oak Bay High. So I recognize that high school from Victoria, British Columbia. Here's the title page. So you've got less color visuals than obviously the books from, the Cabinetry book was from the 70s. And then that first one I showed you was 1982. But even though it is from back in the day, the pictures are so easily laid out and easy to understand. I put sticky notes just to show just how visually easy it is to see exactly what they're talking about. Everything is very clear and methodical. Except this one page I just had to show you. It's called Wood Carving Operations. And it's like, it makes it sound like a surgical procedure, wood carving operations, but the diagrams are pretty good, but the detail, like, I don't think that someone in secondary school, unless they were a prodigy, could do that kind of wood carving operation. But nonetheless, it's beautiful, and I think maybe they're just putting it in there for inspiration, what you can work up to if you get going at a young age. So that's a nifty book. Then we go into the next couple have to do with lumber. To do with wood, just the category of lumber and lumber operations. This book has a lot of charm. It's book number 4. It's 1934 Applied Lumber Science. It's from Victoria. It has quite a bit of charm to it. It has nice black and white pictures throughout. It has like a really neat look into lumber practices throughout BC just because of the nice black and white pictures. It talks about air seasoning of wood, the handling of boards, all the different types of pine, and spruce, all the different kind of tree types. And why did I put a sticky note here? Oh, it has charts and prices, and I had to laugh when I saw the price charts because I can't imagine paying that for lumber today. Prices have gone up quite a bit. Actually, just in the last couple of years, they've gone up quite a bit. So a little bit about the politics, trading policies, tariffs, all that kind of stuff. So it's historical as well as just talking about the market at that time. So I could see this being a nice gift for someone who worked in the lumber industry. So I thought that one was kind of neat. This next one is a little bit odd for me because I can't at first glance really understand quite what it's about. It's called, it's a 1952 book called, it just says lumber on the front cover, but then inside you'll see it's a little bit more detailed and kind of explains a little bit more what it is. It says Baughman's Buyer and Seller. It's the 20th edition, and it's essentially like a trade manual that was used back in the day. I'll show you inside so you can see. It just has all kinds of graphs and charts, and it has to do with the lumber industry as pricing, grading, and I guess it was a reference guide. So it has all these tabs to make it easy to see where you're going, but unless you know what you're looking at, this would be a hard one to decipher. It's full of tables and numbers, and you can definitely see how it was, all the work that went into buying and selling lumber. It is really only for a very specific type of collector, but I think it's neat, so I wanted to show it to you. And someone who had a collection of the lumber niche would probably think this was a pretty nifty book. So I wanted to show you the next one. This one is called Timbers of North America. It's from the 30s. Let me just see, 1934. And I love this book. It doesn't have any fadings. It's gorgeous. It's got handsome green dark cloth boards. A lot of the time you'll find the spines, if it's, from the 30s or earlier, it's often faded, but everything is bright. It was well stored and kept out of the sun. And often what you see is a shorter title on the spine, and then the longer title is Identification of the Timbers of Temperate North America. And I love the details of the pictures inside. Like, people use like some type of magnoscope. Okay, I didn't really say that properly, but like, the pictures are phenomenal. It shows like the cell structure of trees, and it's in superb condition, and it has that glossy page to it that you see in some of the older books. You just can't get paper like that anymore. And you can see those pages with I bookmarked this page because it says scent and taste of the different timbers. The scent of the wood depends on the volatile chemical compounds which form no part of the wood itself, and ordinarily is more pronounced in heartwood than sapwood. So just very interesting descriptions of about taste and smell of wood. I never even thought of framing it in that way, and I'm still kind of wrapping my head around what I just read, but it gives a reference if you want to read about it more. It has a little like asterisk, and it says see American Forestry, Washington DC, and there's a catalog number. Remember going to the library and actually having to like go to the catalog section. So it's very cool book that just goes into the details of the different timbers, and I'm just fascinated with these up close pictures of the cell structure of the different types of wood. So pretty neat collectible there. I've got two more. So the next one I wanted to add because it's called it's about, for someone, this would be a great gift idea for someone who owned a yacht, and it's called The Finely Fitted Yacht by Ferenc Máté, volumes 1 and 2. And it's in beautiful condition. It has the dust wrapper, and a lot of these books that are about boats, people actually kept on the boats and the yachts and the tugs and the ships in the wheelhouse or the cabins, and they would get that moisture smell to them. I see this all the time in the nautical field. You just get this moisture when you keep it on the boat. And this book was kept indoors. It was never kept on a boat. It doesn't have any moisture smell to it. Why I love this book so much is because it explains how detailed modifications of how to build things in wood for being on a yacht. Like, things you would never think of or would need to know if you were building something inside a house. And I know this all too well because I worked on tugboats for a while in my life. And when you are going through the water, things need to be secured to place depending where you're going and how deep sea you're going and what the waters are like. You can have cabinets flying out across the room. It can actually get pretty hardcore. So it can be the Wild West when you go out to sea. So, you know, even things like plants, you want to have secured a certain way. This is a galley seat. You know, you aren't going to build your stools the same way as you would in a kitchen at home. In the galley, everything is so small and you can only fit a certain amount of space. It's kind of like I would imagine building for like a teeny home, except fitted for, you know, just the confines of a boat. So I really, really like this book. It's a nice thick book that just goes into the neatest detail, things that you would not even think about. So nice diagrams and easy to read. Beautiful gift idea for anyone that, even if they didn't have a yacht, just, you know, a boat in general. Like a lot of these ideas are for how to store things on when you're out to sea. Completely useful, and it's even a bit entertaining to look through. The final one is pretty neat. It is a book called Building with Logs, and I think it was like a small press book. This one is pretty close to home for me. It came from BC, British Columbia, and it's all about building with logs. And it has big diagrams. That's why I like it. Everything from building dovetails to fitting your logs together. Very down to earth and practical for anyone who's ever been interested in building a log home. You've got, and just all the practical stuff down to the foundation and building rafters. So it's got that ring to it, kind of like they did those cookbooks back in the day. I used to make muffins out of a cookbook with my mom in the kitchen. With a lot of the cookbooks had this. So it's, I think this is a great way to end the tour of what I have. And if there's anything that catches your eye, feel free to reach out. The most recent post that I have was this one. And eventually, if I don't have anyone reaching out, I will start to post some of these. But for now, this is my most recent book post. I hope you enjoyed this tour of the woodworking books I have in stock right now.